Good morning. You're still on to Golden right here on Delta Television, the Golden Dawn. This morning, we have a very important personality with us, and he is nobody else but the Chief Medical Director of the Delta State University Teaching Hospital. His name is Dr. Onome Ogueh. He's right here in the house with us this morning. Good morning, Dr. Onome.
Good morning, Francis, and thank you very much for inviting me to your show this morning.
You're very much welcome. Now, you are the Chief Medical Director of DELSUTH. Yeah. I want to know more about you.
Okay, as you've said, my name is Onome Ogueh. I am a Deltan. I am hail from Ethiopia West local government area. I was born and brought up in Sapele. Went to secondary school in Agalokpe, what was St. Peter Clavers College, Agalokpe, and then went off to do A-levels at Federal Government College, Odogbolu in then Ogun State. And from then I went on to Ibadan, where I qualified as a medical doctor in 1986. Following graduation, I did house jobs, my housemanship in the General Hospital in Lagos, and then went and spent a year in Kano doing my National Youth Service. So after my National Youth Service in Kano, I went to the UK to undergo postgraduate medical training. Part of my extensive training and experience in the UK included my working as a lecturer at the Imperial College School of Medicine between 1995 and 1998. And I also spent 2 years in Montreal in Canada at the McGill University, where I worked as a fellow, clinical fellow in perinatology. But in the last 15 years, I've been a consultant obstetrician and gynecologist at the Brighton and Sussex University's Hospital NHS Trust. I've also been an associate medical director. This is a purely administrative role, administering the hospital, associate medical director. And I've also been a senior lecturer in the medical school, the Brighton and Sussex Medical School. So I've had fairly extensive and wide experience in terms of my work in administrative roles and in clinical roles. And I'm going to bring all of that extensive experience and knowledge that I have to bear in my new role as Chief Medical Director of Delta State University Teaching Hospital.
Now, talking about being Chief Medical Director of Delta State University Teaching Hospital, have you ever had a relationship with them before now?
Yes, I was actually one of the founders of the Delta State University Teaching Hospital. In 2010, I came out from the UK to spend a year. I had a sabbatical break from my hospital in the UK, and I was actually the first person, or I saw the very first patient at the Delta State University Teaching Hospital in 2010. I also did the very first operation in that hospital. So I have a good experience and some knowledge of the hospital. But I must say that things have changed from 2010 to the current state of the hospital.
We might call that destiny, you know, you returning as the Chief Medical Director of DELSUTH. Anyway, several issues have led to incessant closure of DELSUTH in recent times. Now, since your assumption of office as the Chief Medical Director, have you been able to identify some of these problems?
There are significant issues. As you know, I only started formally on the 5th of December 2016. Of course, I've been in communication with the hospital even since I left in 2011. My link with the hospital have never really stopped. So I've been aware of the things that have been going on, and various staff groups have various reasons why they have gone on strike and why they keep going on this industrial action. But I believe that all of that is now going to stop with my appointment. The question is, what is responsible? There are various reasons have been put forward. One of them, of course, and the one that management and possibly government can have a direct impact on is payments, you know. And once that is sorted, once the government is doing its part and ensuring that people get paid paid what they are due and on time, then the issue of the strike action will begin to diminish a great deal. And there are things about the staff, their conduct, and so on. But all of those will be addressed in an open and transparent way so that everybody knows what the hospital is about. People must begin to believe and accept that the hospital belongs to all of us as Deltans, and they begin to accept that it is for our benefit that that hospital works well in the way that it is meant to be. And once people accept that this is an institution that belongs to them and they take the institution to heart, then they will be able to give it all that they can. But I think at first the hospital, the government have to do its bit. And I know from the conversations and I've had in the last 1 week that the government is quite keen and ready to do its bit and is doing everything that it can to ensure that staff have, you know, the right environment to deliver the services that they should, and to encourage people, you know, to begin to accept that this is an institution that belongs to them. It's an institution that they should nurture because of the good work that the institution is doing for our people.
Now that's about the government. How about you? What are your plans to save the hospital of some of these issues? Talk about the incessant closures.
So, I mean, like I said, I've only been there for 1 week, but I've already started. So one of the things I've told myself and I've told the hospital is that I will have meetings with every single staff group. And I had the first one on Wednesday. And on Wednesday, I met with every single cleaner and porter in the hospital. And the people left the meeting. I left feeling really energized, and they left feeling really energized and good about themselves. I mean, it was a listening forum, and that's what I want to do with all the staff groups. The staff, they were able to tell me what they felt were good about the place, what the challenges were, and how we can move things forward. And I was there with my management team, and as the issues were being raised, we were addressing them. And it is surprising to find that the issues that make people go on strike are usually easy things that can be easily dealt with. But one of the things that struck me was one of the cleaners who said that that day she had come to work and brought her own mop and brought her own soap and our own things from our own home to do, because she knew that the role she was performing as a cleaner in theater was crucial to the well-being of our patients. That if the theater is not clean, then patients may not recover as quickly. There will be risk of infection and all of those things. So everybody in the hospital knows that every role that they play has a significant impact on what is the real vision of the hospital to provide world-class care to patients. And if you clean the place well, the patients will not have infection, and they will recover quicker and will be able to go home quicker. And she knew this. And knowing this and knowing that there were some shortages in the hospital, was willing to bring her own things to ensure that she did her work well. But the government, we've taken note, the management is taking note of every little aspect. Government has been very magnanimous to us, and I've recently given a loan of 100 million naira. Once that comes in, we'll begin to address some of these issues that will make the industrial actions a thing of the past.
A thing of the past, Dr. Onome Ogueh says. You're watching Delta Television, The Golden Dawn. We're going to break right now. We're right back. Do stay with us on Golden Ride. You're welcome back. You're still on to Delta Television, The Golden Dawn, and this is The Golden Ride. We've been talking to, of course, a very, very important personality right here on the stage. He is Dr. Onome Ogueh. He is the Chief Medical Director of Delta State University Teaching Hospital. We like to call that DELSUTH. Hope you're feeling comfortable.
I'm feeling comfortable, Francis, and again, I'm really grateful that you've invited me here. But one of the things I wanted to say, you keep mentioning the fact that I'm a very important personality, but I'm not really. And as I told the cleaners when we met on Wednesday, that all of us have equal importance in what we will be doing for DELSUTH, and unless all of us accept that we are equally important in making the difference, turning the place around, taking it back to how it was when I was involved in the starting of the hospital in 2010, and actually going beyond, because one of the things that we are hoping to do is to make Delta State University Teaching Hospital a beacon of medical care in Nigeria. And what I really mean by that is that before people think about going to India or going to South Africa or going to the UK or US for medical care, they should first think about coming to DELSUTH, because that's where we want to be. We want to raise the standard of care to be equivalent to what you have everywhere else in the world, because that is the vision. That was the vision of the founders. World-class excellence in patient care, and that's something that I'm quite keen that we achieve.
We understand the university, the hospital rather,
Yeah.
is a university teaching hospital.
Yes.
And from your little description about yourself, you are obviously very, very grounded and exposed to the medical world outside Africa.
Yeah.
How have you planned, what are your plans in terms of inculcating some of these virtues and training on the students of DELSUTH?
So, I mean, there are various things that we will do and that we're already currently doing. I know that some of the staff have gone abroad to get some training in other areas. This week just gone, we had a seminar in the hospital, and we had people from America coming to join in that seminar. So we have this skill transfer. So in the terms of knowledge, people coming here, going abroad to learn skills. One of my consultants has only returned on Wednesday from the States, where he went to improve his own learning in radiology, because these are services that we will need to improve the care. And because we are a global community now, we have to be sharing. So we are having staff going across, and with the knowledge that you pick up in the various places, then we're able to impact that on the students. But we will increase those collaborations that we have with international institutions. It will not be limited to one country. It will be America, Canada, places where people have real interest in helping to raise the level of care that we have. And because of my own association with these various organizations, it will be quite easy, or at least much easier, to make the links that will benefit the training of both our students. It's not just students we want to train, the doctors who are currently practicing, because we have to keep up to speed. We cannot use the knowledge that I had when I graduated in 1986 to be treating patients today, because things are moving all the time, and the changes are happening in various countries, various parts of the world. So unless you have these international collaborations, you cannot give students the 21st century medical education that they need. But that's something we're going to be doing at DELSUTH. Part of my listening program for this few weeks will be to also, I'll be sitting with the provost of the College of Medicine to see if there are ways, things that can be done with the hospital to make sure we continue to deliver on this high quality care and education.
All right. Now, in a very short period of time, DELSUTH has recorded some major achievement as regards neonatal care, as regards kidney transplant. Very wonderful.
Yeah.
What are the plans for your leadership to improve and continue on this kind of quality?
It's amazing to know that DELSUTH was probably the first hospital in Nigeria to have a dedicated neonatal intensive care unit, and we are still the leading place for that in the country, and that's something we will continue to maintain. We have doctors both trained nationally and internationally who are manning all of those issues. We still have an MOU with UT Southwestern, University of Texas Southwestern. The MOU was what helped in delivering the renal transplant that we undertook in 2012. That collaboration is still live as we speak, and as I said, even this week we had visiting clinicians from UT Southwestern who came to a conference on renal diseases based in DELSUTH. So we have all of those collaborations still in place, and what I need to do now is to begin to develop on what my predecessors have done. I will be meeting with one of the former chief medical directors who was instrumental to that program, and we'll begin to look at how to raise it forward. And to expand on that, we'll be looking at setting up a cardiovascular institute, because you will find that renal diseases, heart diseases, some of them, they have links. And if you can deal with all of those things properly, then you again begin to raise the standard of care. And if people know that these things are happening in Oghara, then the sky will be the limit. So there are things that we want to do, and with the goodwill of government and with funds being available, we will begin to recreate what we had and do even better.
Okay, no doubt the hospital is going through the hard times of the economic recession and all that. Yeah. So how do you plan to marry this particular event, this particular scourge, in terms of managing the affairs, logistical challenge, human challenges that might come as a result of the recession?
Yeah, it is difficult. So one of the things that we will have to start doing as a hospital is also to generate the funds that we need to promote, to deliver the services, because I'm quite clear that if you can set up world-class service, if you give in excellent care to patients, if you can set all of those up, then money will follow. But yes, we will also be looking at directly doing things that will help us generate funds to maintain the services. So one of the things I've been thinking about is maybe setting up a private wing within the hospital, where we will provide care for people who have the ability to pay, and this will be care that will be continuous, and there will be it's care that you will not expect industrial actions and so on to interrupt. But industrial actions too will be a thing of the past. But one of the other key things that we're going to be ensuring is that we have 24/7 power, because you need power to power the hospital, power the equipment, power the things that we have, because we have lots of things that if you take our CT scan and MRI, for instance, the types that we have, we are probably the only ones that have it in the whole of South Nigeria. So once those things are functioning and everybody knows that DELSUTH is back in business, then we will flourish, and we will be able to raise income revenue that we can use to continue to manage the hospital despite the economic situation that we found ourselves. But I know too that we're also talking to government to see if there's a way of still ensuring that we get some subvention, especially at these early stages, while we're beginning to build up the service until we're really running full steam.
Now, sir, there is a high rate of renal failure in the country, and the hospital used to subsidize the cost of dialysis. Is the hospital still in the act of subsidizing this particular dialysis?
I agree. We do have a high rate, and it's something that we're still not sure about, why us as black people have more renal diseases than white people, for instance. And that's why it's very important that one of the focus of DELSUTH is the treatment of renal diseases. And you probably know that we've only recently completed a renal dialysis unit, so a new build renal dialysis unit. What we're waiting to do now is to equip it, and I believe that once that is done, then the service will continue to flourish. One of the reasons why at present we're not subsidizing, because we've had all these problems. We're just building back the service. But once the patient flow increases, then my plan will be that we'll continue to subsidize in a way that will encourage more patients to come, and we'll do more for our people.
Okay, so you just defended DELSUTH's budget with the State House of Assembly. What are DELSUTH expecting if this budget finally gets the approval?
So if the budget gets approved, as I expect that it will be, it will be a functional budget. So my belief is that it is not going to be a budget that is on paper, but it's a budget that will transform the lives of Deltans. So for instance, if you take DELSUTH specifically, one of the things I'll be looking at is setting up the private wing to the hospital. So that will be something that will be immediately obvious to people. We will be looking at equipping the renal dialysis unit, so that too will be immediately obvious and will begin to change lives, improve lives of our people. So we will be making functional use of the funding. It's going to be a functional budget. We will use the monies that come to change the things that we do to improve the care that we provide for our people.
All right, one final message to Deltans as regards DELSUTH and the message of hope, precisely, a message of hope to Deltans about DELSUTH.
So just to say that we are back, DELSUTH is back, and somebody equated my coming to the stock market. You see, when I started, from Monday when I started, the patient flow have started increasing, and the good thing is that Deltans and Nigerians and even the world should know that DELSUTH is under new management, and this is management that will raise the level of care to a different level, and everybody on the ground are currently excited about the things that we'll continue to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking to Dr. Onome Ogueh. He is the Chief Medical Director of DELSUTH, a man who started with the hospital, took a sabbatical leave to have one of the first surgeries right there at DELSUTH. It's a privilege to have had you right here on this show on Golden Ride. You're welcome back to Nigeria and Delta State.
Thank you very much, Francis. It's a real pleasure to be back home.
Welcome back. Golden Ride continues. More activities right here on the show. Do not move a muscle. It's not safe for you to do that. Stay with us.